Now, switching topics, kind of, because it's still digital.
Yes.
Let's talk about NFTs. Now, let me open this up in this way. At first, when I heard about NFTs, I heard about them through Gary Vaynerchuk. I was turned off immediately. And the reason for that is Gary Vaynerchuk is a marketer that I respected for quite a while. I liked where he came from and doing his wine stuff on YouTube. I'm a big wino, so I appreciate that kind of thing. I like that he was then able to build a marketing business, and he's really smart, and he's still really smart about what he does. Over time, though, he transitioned from that to really kind of marketing more towards the younger crowd, and the language and the energy in which he's using that turned me off because I no longer was his target audience. So I have no personal beef against Gary V, because he's got his niche. So therefore, when he mentioned NFT, my mind immediately disassociated it with, I am not going to be interested in that because I am not his target audience. So I ignored it. Then I saw a thing recently, an article that came across one of the business news feeds that I look at. And it turns out that these NFTs are actually a subject of massive amounts of fraud at the moment, which of course is ugly. And that's why it caught my attention. So now I'm looking, because it's like a bad car accident. So I'm looking at this, and it looks like it's all over YouTube. There are some people that are like creating fake NFTs or something and selling them, or say they sold them. I don't really understand anything more than that. So let's start from the beginning. That's my knowledge. What is an NFT? Let's start there.
NFT stands for non-fungible token. I don't know why they picked that name.
Yeah, right. That's like fungus.
Yeah, I don't know why they picked that name. But the way I like to think about NFTs is it's back when me and my brother were kids, we bought and sold and traded like baseball and football cards.
Oh yeah, okay.
To me, that's what like an NFT is. That or a piece of art.
Well, shit, my husband has a metric shit ton of baseball cards. I'm tracking this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So to me, that's what it's like, because you have an asset that maybe only 1,000 people, for example, can have worldwide. And then you can buy, sell, or trade that with other people for other stuff. Now,
this is a digital asset, though. I'm going to make that clear.
Yes, this is a digital asset, though. Correct.
Okay, what is it?
It's not a physical trading.
Is it like a picture or something?
So it can be pictures, can be drawings, can be, I think there's even music out there. NFTs. But I think most of it so far are things like pictures, graphics, stuff like that.
Okay. Who creates these things?
Anybody. So Coke actually created their first NFTs last week, the week before, and they are raising money. All money from the proceeds of the NFTs were going to go to help the Special Olympics.
Cool.
Yeah. So these can be anything. And they had several different, I think there were 4 different ones. And one of them was the way they worded it is a reimagining of a 1950s era, one of their most iconic vending machines from the 1950s era is a reimagining of a picture of that.
Oh, okay. I like that. I like that in theory.
Yeah. So they sold that, they raised money, and they sent it to the Special Olympics. So musicians are doing this kind of stuff. Sports teams are starting to do this kind of stuff. So another example for the sports people out there, Sports Illustrated has done these for probably decades now. These special issues, like when your team wins the Super Bowl in the NFL, special issue all about your team and how they won the Super Bowl, stuff like that. Instead of that going out in a physical like magazine style format, that can be sold, for example, in an NFT as an example to say 10,000 people.
Okay, that brings me to the next question. These are limited. How do you limit them, and who can prove that they're actually limited? How do you prove that?
So I can tell that is a token on the blockchain if they are done through a legitimate outlet.
Okay.
So what's happening now with a lot of people is they see NFTs and they go buy something without doing the research. So they get taken advantage of, and because people aren't really selling true NFTs, they're selling just something they probably just made up. Real NFTs will be hosted on the blockchain by a reputable source, so you can track if this is real or not. And again, like with any kind of investment ever, you need to do your research. So that's that. What was the first question again? Sorry.
That was how to limit it. Now, how can we prove they're limited? You said they have to be through blockchain. So how does the technology say, okay, 10,000 have sold, now it's cut off, you cannot do it anymore?
I don't know. To my knowledge, this is, and you might be able to answer this better than I can, because you have more of a technical background when it comes to this kind of stuff than I do. or development background than I do. But they make, let's say again, 1,000 things, and then when those 1,000 things sell out, they cannot be sold anymore. That's to my knowledge, and they cap it on the development side of things. Again, I don't know how they do that, but.
So yeah, now you're correct on that. Now from the technology background, I can't speak to how they sell this because I'm just learning. But here's my problem with it. I suppose it comes down to me just poking holes. Where are the vulnerabilities? I can use developers to block it, after a certain amount of sales. But then if I was, had nefarious intentions, I could simply fire it up somewhere else and then do the same amount of blocking. Like I really could just duplicate this digital asset as many times as I want. So I suppose I might be answering my own question here. How can we prove it's limited? I suppose we have to look at the honesty and integrity of the company that we're doing business with, which is, I think, what you're saying. Do the research.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, is this like a piece of art? How do you know, unless you're a high level art connoisseur, how do you know you're getting a real Leonardo da
Right,
Vinci
or a knockoff,
or are you getting a knockoff?
Yeah. Okay.
Trust and verification, authentication, all that stuff. How is that going to work in the digital space for a digital asset that you have only one of these 1,000 things and it wasn't a reproduction? I have no idea how they're going to do that, especially for things like pictures. I mean, I honestly don't understand how they're going to do that with pictures.
Okay. All right. So that's the first problem with NFTs then. We don't really know how it can be limited or not fraudy. But we're going to look at reputable brokers for this. We're going to start there. We're going to do our homework.